Where do you stuff your face so much? The husband's rough voice rang out loudly among the invited guests. You've gained weight like crazy. Elizabeth nervously smiled amidst the sympathetic looks from her colleagues, giggled, and, as always, tried to turn everything into a joke. Darling, you know you love me no matter what, and this meat is so delicious? And she continued eating, even though the food was getting stuck in her throat. But she couldn't admit in front of everyone that she was hurt to the point of tears. The mask of a happy wife had stuck so tightly to her that it was impossible to distinguish her true feelings anymore. From the first day of marriage, she had to make a choice: endure all of her husband's comments, turning them into jokes, or leave. She was afraid to leave. Who else would need her? She thought such things could be forgiven, but with each passing year, these little things piled up more and more, and now, no matter what she did, she heard her husband's voice in her head, commenting and criticizing. Can't cook? Who washes like that? Your hands are like crap. Look at yourself, you monster. With each word, she believed more and more that she was fat, ugly, and worthless, unable to do anything right. She learned to smile when he publicly humiliated her, learned to swallow tears and stay silent when he talked about his affairs. She forgave and thought she was lucky to have him as a husband. Who else would take her? And people would judge if she left. When the guests dispersed, she cleaned up the table, tiredly putting dishes in the sink. The party was a failure. Her husband got drunk and lay on the couch, mumbling to himself incoherently. Elizabeth. Come here, my little cow. His tongue was slurred. She didn't respond. She wanted to leave the house and wander the dark streets just to avoid seeing or hearing that drunken face. Elizabeth. Her husband persisted. She entered the room, drying her hands with a towel. What now? Her husband tried to stand up, but could only manage to slide off the couch. His face flushed red, as it did every time he drank. His shirt had come untucked from his pants, wrinkled, revealing his sagging belly. His eyes darted around, unable to focus. Come to me. It's time for bed, it's late, Elizabeth replied, wrinkling her nose at the smell of alcohol. She approached him, attempted to help him up, but he grabbed her and pulled her down beside him. She tried to push him away, but he held her in a bear hug and started kissing her neck and mouth, reeking of alcohol. And then something clicked in her mind. She turned her head, dodging the slobbery kisses, pushed him away with all her strength, and stood up. He flopped onto his back, clumsily spreading his arms and looking at her with confusion. And she saw, there he was, the man who had criticized her every move her entire conscious life. There he was, drunk, overweight, unable to even cook scrambled eggs independently, buy groceries without her guidance, find his shirt without her instructions. He lay there like a repulsive mass, thinking she was unworthy of him. He considered himself a benefactor, convinced that life revolved solely around him. And for years, she had sustained this confidence, indulging him, accepting all insults, and maintaining the illusion for everyone else that he was the head of the household, the master who made all the decisions. And only now did she realize, she didn't need this man. She no longer wanted to live like this, didn't want to see him every morning, didn't want to hear his abuse anymore. Didn't want to catch pitying glances from strangers when he yelled at her. Enough. She was tired. Elizabeth, what's wrong with you? Huh? Elizabeth. His gaze slightly sobered her up. I'm leaving you, she simply said and went to the bedroom to pack her things. How light she felt inside. It was as if she had dropped a huge stone that she had been carrying for years. What? Where? Elizabeth, where are you going? Where are you going? Come back. But she didn't hear him anymore. She opened an old suitcase and began to slowly pack her things.